NTAi International News.
House of Representatives sets the record straight following uncertainties on the status of Nigeria's Peace Corps bill. Federal government to revive 12 river basin authorities to boost agriculture. And a change of guards parade has the Presidential Guards Brigade march at the Cenotaph. Hello and welcome to NTAi International News. I'm Joseph Johnson. Let's begin with the legislature. Following uncertainty surrounding the recently passed Nigerian Peace Corps bill by the National Assembly, the Chairman, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Abdulrazak Namdez, has set the record straight while addressing newsmen. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adegunloye reports.
The Nigerian Peace Corps bill passed third reading at the National Assembly in December 2016. The contentious issue centers on the status of the National Unity Peace Corps.
In the House, we don't have any bill before us as National Unity and Peace Corps. We don't have that. If the National Unity and Peace Corps wants to be part of the bill that has already been passed both in the House and in the Senate and later harmonized, they are free to join that corps. The Nigerian Peace Corps bills that was harmonized by the Conference Committee of the NAS only gave statutory backing to the Nigerian Peace Corps.
He also disclosed that a national public hearing on the 2017 budget is expected to hold between the 13th and 15th of February to make the national budgetary process an all-inclusive activity for Nigerians. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTAi News.
A bit in security now. The Nigerian Army Guards Brigade says it is not affected by the recent directive to withdraw the army from providing security for the president. To this end, it has carried out its weekly ceremonial change of guards parade at the Cenotaph, Abuja. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma has details.
Apart from carrying out ceremonial functions of the Nigerian Army, the Guards Brigade also has the responsibility of providing certain level of security at the presidency on a weekly basis, hence this change of guards parade.
As you know, the Guards Brigade is the focal point for regimentation and discipline in the Nigerian Army. The physical change of troop usually takes place today, and again, the ceremonial change of guard parade at the presidential villa also takes place every Mondays.
The old guards are from 7 Guards Battalion, Lungi Barracks, Abuja, while the new guards are of the 177 Guards Battalion, Kefi, Nasarawa State.
Are you sure you funded over correctly? Yes, sir. Are you sure you've taken over correctly? Yes, sir. Junior guards.
I love it, and I really want to march with them.
So, would you someday join the army and partake in a parade?
No.
This is my first experience.
So, and how was it?
It was very, very nice.
This public ceremonial change of guards parade was revived by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, in the last quarter of 2016 in upholding the tradition of the Guards Brigade. In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTAi News.
There have been attempts to revive Nigeria's 12 river basin authorities over time. A retreat organized by the Ministry of Water Resources is aimed at evolving ways and means of repositioning agricultural activities. Musbao Danwahab takes it from here.
Traditionally, the task of Nigeria's river basin development authorities is to enhance agricultural productivity and deliver a host of other water management services. But over the years, achieving the task has been hampered by poor management of the abundant water resources, especially those needed for irrigation.
At some point, some of the equipment and machineries were either concessioned or sold out to private individuals in the guise of privatizing the activities of the river basins. This, unfortunately, led to a near total collapse of the river basins.
As a wake-up call for them, this retreat aims at ensuring that managing and executive directors of river basin development authorities imbibe greater managerial skills and a desired commitment. With the availability of natural resources not in contention, aligning the talk here with the work on hand is the core challenge.
For us to move forward, for us to be able to take these river basins to the next level, we must entrench probity and accountability and shun corrupt practices. That is one thing that has killed the river basins in the past.
We in the legislature are willing to assist with anything you require to move this sector forward in terms of enabling laws.
To support irrigation so that all year round the different parts of this country can be witnessing cropping. I think that is the new focus, that is the new thinking, and it is achievable.
On its part, the Ministry of Water Resources says it will put in place an evaluation mechanism for managers of the 12 river basin development authorities. In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NTAi News.
Now, over the years, successive governments in Nigeria have made efforts to address the housing needs of Nigerians, especially for civil servants, towards enhanced productivity for national development, but without much success. With the establishment of the Federal Integrated Staff Housing Program, FISH, by the present administration, key players in the sector are optimistic that the program will help address the housing deficit of Nigerians. Debola Brookslyn Sunday in this special report x-rays the program specifically designed to alleviate the challenges faced by federal civil servants.
The Federal Integrated Staff Housing Program, FISH, is an initiative of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, which falls in line with the federal government housing policy aimed at providing affordable housing for federal civil servants. To benefit from the program, applicant must be a federal civil servant and a contributor to the National Housing Fund, in addition to being a member of the FISH cooperative. Letters of offer were presented to 30 beneficiaries who participated in a lottery at the groundbreaking ceremony. Apart from moral booster and productivity enhancer, there is a nexus between FISH and anti-corruption.
When an officer knows that his employer has his interest at heart, he will jealously guard and guide his duties to the best of his ability, and he will not be tempted to put his hand into the government treasury.
If you start with civil servants, I think it's a fulfillment of presidential promise.
We have 2,000 units up already, so we're very sure we'll make it.
To further show commitment, the federal government gave an approval of a 13 billion naira mortgage refinancing loan to the loans board.
Before the first tenure of this government ends, we should be able to bridge the gap that exists, in the housing deficit.
So far, over 30,000 federal civil servants have indicated interest, with more trooping in daily to register.
I'm taking it serious because as a person, my father won a house in Festac Town in 1977. That house is still there. It's almost 40 years now.
They have uploaded them into the fish pool, which we are allocating to officers, those who are under construction. The developers have given them provisional letter of offer.
The FISH program is made up of an inter-ministerial committee comprising 6 permanent secretaries and 4 heads of extra ministerial agencies. Adebola, Brookslyn Sunday, NTAi News.
In line with the present administration's drive for transparency and accountability, the Nigeria Good Governance Group, NGGG, has inaugurated its first state chairman, who are tasked to carry out work that will sustain the vision of President Muhammadu Buhari. Dennis Adegunloye again reports.
Projects and defend the constitution of the Nigeria Good Governance Group.
The Director General of the Nigerian Good Governance Group, Fred Umoren, emphasized to the newly appointed state chairman that they are undertaking an important assignment which is designed to complement federal government's efforts in promoting integrity and selflessness in governance.
The task before you is tough, challenging, demanding, but ultimately very exciting and fulfilling.
By this inauguration, you have been given a stamp of authority, and I'd like you to live and abide by the vision of this association.
This organization stands for truth, stands for things to be done in a rightful way, stands for people to benefit dividend of democracy. We are working as an advocacy group, we are working as a pressure group, we are working as a collaborative agency.
The Nigerian Good Governance Group came into being in 2016. In Abuja, Dennis Adegunloye, NTAi News.
Now let's turn our attention to religion, because the Senate President Bukola Saraki says as leaders they are not unmindful of the day to account for their stewardship before Almighty Allah, as they have a constant reminder in the Holy Quran. The Quran speaks about responsibility and burden of leadership. The Senate President stated this at the closing of the 2017 National Quranic Recitation held in Ilorin, Kwara State. Abdullahi Musa Suleja tells us more.
The event is the 31st edition organized by Center for Islamic Studies, Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto. The Senate President called on those who study the Quran to continue to spread its teachings in a peaceful manner to spread peace, love, coexistence, understanding, tolerance, and harmonious living.
Let us use our knowledge of the Quran to let the world know that those who discourage acquiring education are not good Muslims.
Educate non-Muslims about the dictates of the Holy Quran in a manner capable of addressing misconceptions about Islam and promoting harmony in the general population.
The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, enjoined Muslims to hold on to their beliefs and ensure unity among Nigerians. In the 6 categories that the Quran was contested for, Faisal Muhammad Awar from Zamfara State emerged overall winner in the male category, while Aishatu Musa Gali from Bauchi State emerged the overall winner in the female category. The winners are to represent the country in a world competition later this year in Saudi Arabia. Abdullahi Musa Sleja, NTAi News.
The wife of the president, Aisha Muhammad Buhari, is back from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia after performing a lesser Hajj in the spirit of love, unity and development of the country. State House correspondent Aliyu Kabir reports that the wife of the president arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Saturday afternoon.
Accompanied by the members of her family and her close associates, the wife of the president was received at the airport by the wife of the Senate President, Toyin Saraki, wives of the service chiefs and that of the Inspector General of Police, Asamau Idris, the former Deputy Governor of Plateau State, Pauline Talen, as well as the governor's wives and her personal aides. Mrs. Buhari, who was in Mecca for about 10 days, said prayers for peace and development of Nigeria was the priority during the Lesser Hajj, while expressing gratitude to Nigerians for their support, love and prayers for her husband. The wife of the president urged them to sustain the temple.
I thank God for the journey mercy, and I'm happy I went for a lesser Hajj. I prayed for Nigeria and Nigerian leaders, and I wish you no relent on prayers and good deeds. I would also like to use this medium to thank all Nigerians for the goodwill towards my husband and Nigeria in general. God bless Nigeria.
Mrs. Buhari was joined by the members of her family and the entourage in a special prayer for God to take the nation into the promised land. I am Aliyu Kabir, NTAi News.
This is the news on NTAi International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Stay tuned for more stories after the break. You're watching NTAi International News. Thanks for staying with us. Let's join Justin Bemwe for trending stories in the outgoing week.
Hello there, and glad to have you join us on this segment of the bulletin, The Week in Review.
One amongst trending stories for the week, as it began, President Muhammadu Buhari wrote to the National Assembly informing of his desire to extend his leave in order to complete and receive the result of a series of tests recommended by his doctors. The president expressed his sincere gratitude to Nigerians for their concern, prayers, and kind wishes. In another development, the week also had the federal government continue its consultative meeting with various key players for their contributions for a planned economic recovery and growth program for the country to run from 2017 to 2020. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, addressing investors at the meeting, said the federal government considers private sector participation in the economy as crucial to achieving its planned program, especially in taking the country out of recession.
There's no question at all that the federal government on its own, or any government on its own, can simply not effect economic policy in a country whose economy is as large as ours.
The federal government, within the week's Executive Council meeting, approved some measures that would boost agricultural production and distribution in furtherance of the ongoing efforts to address the high cost of living and make life comfortable for Nigerians. Minister of Agriculture Audu Ogbe briefed the council on the findings of the task force set up to look into possible reasons for high cost of living and possible way forward. Among some of the constraints he noted was a high cost of transportation, and assured Nigerians that another round of harvest will be coming up in March to alleviate the hardship. Also from the agriculture sector, we told you that the federal government is to adopt a system that allows farmers access to heavy-duty equipment to boost food production, targeting 1 million tractors in the next 5 years. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Ogbe, said Nigeria will sign an agreement with Brazilian government on production and supply of tractors. The Federal Minister of Information and Culture Town Hall meeting was held in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. Again, 6 cabinet ministers joined the Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, to explain to Nigerians the present administration's programs and policies as they affect the state of the nation. On security challenges in Nigeria, the armed forces was reported to be exploring space technology for effective surveillance gathering. Chief of Defense Staff General Gabriel Olonishakin explained the need for massive deployment of technology in military operations at a lecture to participants of the National Defense College Course 25 in Abuja. Still on crime, Police Joint Investigation Panel into Rivers State rerun election violence said it recovered 111 million naira from indicted electoral officers, security agents, and politicians. Chairman of the panel, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Damian Okoro, stated these while presenting their findings to the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, at the Force Headquarters. Away from security now, key players in the power sector, the leadership of the National Assembly, and the Minister of Power Works and Housing were at a stakeholders interactive dialogue in Abuja, which focused on providing lasting solutions to challenges of steady and sustained power generation, transmission, and distribution. And organized labor unions took to the streets in Abuja and Lagos during the week, calling on the federal government to intensify its fight against corruption across board and down to local government levels. They commended President Muhammadu Buhari for taking up the fight and urged him not to relent in ensuring that needed infrastructure that will bring development and growth are put in place. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo identified mismanagement of the nation's past as the bane of growth. He assured the labor leaders that their demands will be incorporated into the economic recovery and growth plan of 2017 to 2020.
And with that, we end the review for the week. Thank you for your time. But please do stay tuned as the news continues.
Justin Bemoye reporting. Let's talk business now. Nigeria's Eurobond notes 8 times oversubscribed with orders in excess of $7.8 billion. Chiazala Mekie has details on business news.
We begin by informing you that the country's $1 billion Eurobond offered in the international market has been oversubscribed at an interest rate of 7.8%. Minister of Finance Kemi Adosho said the notes were approximately 8 times oversubscribed, with orders in excess of $7.8 billion, compared to a pre-issuance target of $1.0 billion. Adeosho believes this demonstrates strong market appetite for Nigeria despite the continued volatility in emerging markets, and further shows confidence by the international community in Nigeria's economic reform agenda. Meanwhile, 28 ships laden with petroleum products, food items and other goods arrived at Apapa and Tinkan Island ports in Lagos. The Nigerian Ports Authority said in its publication that 5 of the expected vessels would berth with diesel and petrol. NPA said the remaining 23 ships contain bulk wheat, general cargoes, base oil, frozen fish, bulk salt, and steel products. The document noted that 8 ships had arrived at ports waiting to berth with bulk fertilizer, bulk wheat, diesel, and petrol. And finally, trading on the equities market closed the week on a positive note after it witnessed a bearish trend in the first 4 trading sessions in the week. Chiazalam Ekiye, NTAi News.
Nigerian and Islamic Republic of Iran are determined to strengthen diplomatic ties and brighten mutual relations, particularly in the economic spheres. Justin Bemoye again reports that the Embassy of Iran in Abuja celebrated the 38th National Day anniversary.
Nigeria and Iran have had smooth bilateral relations for 43 years now, in all aspects, especially economically. Records show that there has been an increase in the volume of bilateral trade, rising from $2.9 million in 2014 to over $15 million in 2015, with a projected target set at $500 million by 2020. As Iran marks its 38th anniversary of the victory of the Islamic Revolution under the leadership of late Imam Kwemeru, its ambassador to Nigeria, Moteza Zashi, maintained that independence, freedom, progress and welfare are the true demands of the Iranian nation. He believed that the cooperation between his country and Nigeria has been very remarkable and optimistic of a promising future.
The cooperation between the two important countries, one in West Asia and another in the West Africa, has been very remarkable in OPEC, gas OPEC, the 8 United Nations and other international organizations.
Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs represented also hopes relations will further be deepened.
It is imperative to state today that Nigeria will continue to maintain friendly relations with Iran and will seek new ways to further deepen the relations.
It was an event attended by heads of diplomatic missions, friends of Iran and well-wishers. In Abuja, Justin Bemoye, NTAi News.
Now let's get some of the day's other news from around the world for you. Angola has announced an investigation into the stadium stampede that killed at least 17 and injured scores in what was described as the Southern African country's worst football tragedy. The government set up a commission to probe the Friday's crash in the northern town of Uge, with children among the victims. A reporter says another body will be set up to help the families of the victims and assist in organizing funerals after the tragedy struck the domestic league match between host and visiting team. Police said hundreds of fans had tried to enter the already packed stadium to see the match, cursing a crash that pushed some people to the ground. Many of the dead were trampled upon. The club called it a tragedy without precedent in the history of Angolan football. The match between Santa Rita de Cassia and Libolo was part of Angola First Division Championship. And now we take a look at Sunday's weather prospect in Nigeria and other cities around the world. And just before we go, let's take the highlights of the major stories in the bulletin. We brought you a report that following uncertainties surrounding the recently passed Nigerian Peace Corps bill, the House of Representatives has clarified the status of the bill. We also told you that the Ministry of Water Resources is to revive 12 river basin authorities as it strives to meet with its mandate of boosting agricultural activities. And that's it on NTAi International News. Thank you very much indeed for your company. I'm Joseph Johnson. Bye-bye.